Hi, this is Ben from 561 Music Podcast. Right now, we're trying to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It just helps us get out there more. It also enables us to monetize the podcast, to make it better, do more advertising for it and things like that. Subscribe to the podcast and hit the notifications button. That would be doing us a really big favor. Thank you very much. Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector.
How are you doing, Hector?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. We had a fun weekend, didn't we?
We had a stupid weekend, man. It was crazy. There was so many people.
Yeah, it was great. And we played two of our favourite Irish pubs. We played Meg O'Malley's and then O'Shea's. And O'Shea's was so good for a number of reasons. One was that it was the Respectable's 35th anniversary. Yeah. But also, it was raining cats and dogs, so everyone had to come inside. So like O'Shea's was just jumping.
Well, usually we play O'Shea's and there's a good crowd in there, but the patio is always packed. You know, they got the EDM stuff going out there, and the patio is always packed. But yeah, like you said, it started raining, so they all had to come inside. We kind of had a captured audience there, but it was good, man. And the Respectables had their 35th anniversary party. They had Front 242 and a bunch of other big bands playing and stuff.
Yeah.
And so
Straight Jacket played. Who've been on this?
Yeah. So
Violet Silhouette.
Yeah. I think. There was a bunch of people that were past guests that were playing.
Yeah, it was awesome, and I got to see a few of them, come through. And so Michael O'Malley, he's a guy that I know, a great photographer. He was in there, and he got everyone on the tables.
Yeah, dude, that was crazy.
So he was like born in Ireland, right? But he's lived in America most of his life, but. If he has a couple of drinks, man, does he just turns on the Irish.
The Irish just comes out, man. Yeah, he was on the table. He had all these people on the table, and everybody's. And at one point, there was the hallway leading to the bathroom. Somebody was filming it, and they were all jumping up and down and had their hand up in the air like it was a rave or something. But it was us playing, so I don't know.
So I've come up with an idea for a small, I don't know if it has to be a whole album, but like an EP, a Killbillies EP, which is just all like really dancey bassline tunes.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, because when I heard that, I was like, okay, so that's what we sound like from the other room. Why don't we just do like a whole bunch of those, to have like a, so if we really need to just get it jumping like party music, we can,
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. So that's the idea. And then, Meg's was cool too. It always is. It's fun
always packed there. Like that place is always packed, and there was just a ton of people having a good time and dancing and acting a fool, and it was good, man. I like it.
Absolutely. Me and James did the Square Grouper, which is okay, but that was one of the ones that suffered because of the weather.
Yeah. Kelly and I walked over to Respectables after we all packed up and everything, and went in there and did a little dancing and stuff. It was good, man. Rodney was in there, and he jumped on the turntables there and was spinning some old school Respectables music, man.
Oh, wicked!
Yeah, it took me back. It was good.
Some electro and like goth and stuff.
Yeah, just some old Bauhaus and stuff like that. It was good, man. It was good stuff.
Yeah,
I had a good time. Yeah, really good time.
Good times, man. Well, we have Conor and Anthony from Subject to Change. How's it going, guys?
Good. How's it going?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's our pleasure, man. I was listening to your music online, and it is really interesting. I think it's I don't even know if you could put it in a box. It's kind of experimental, and there's a lot going on. Some great harmonies, all sorts of different instruments. It's really cool, man.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
How long have you guys been a band?
We've been a band. Well, Anthony, my brother, and I have been playing together since we lived together in Orlando. We were going to UCF. My brother was going to Valencia, like the community college then. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And that was probably 8 or so years ago that we started doing that. At the time, we were like really big into death metal and like shredding solos and like the European kind of like, just metal scene. So we were right in that area. But after a while, we're just like, let's throw some covers together. Let's like play for actually double-digit people when we go out and play. I still money. I love metal still, but there's it's kind of like a niche genre sort of thing. So we just started like doing covers of like all the classic rock stuff that we grew up with. We had a keyboardist and drummer at the time, and other guitarists is all pretty good. So we were throwing those together. The three of us moved down here and kind of found two other guys, another guitarist and keyboardist. And
Who's the third?
Third, my brother. Sorry,
Okay,
he
gotcha.
plays the drums for us, but
Okay.
he still plays with us. He's back up in Orlando, but when we moved back here, we got another guitarist and keyboardist and started just playing 3 and 4 hour cover shows around the area.
Who are those guys? Let's shout them out.
There, we got Tony Urso.
Yeah.
Shout out to him, and then Ryan Cole.
Okay.
He's out near Puerto Rico, not at Puerto Rico. I forget the name of the island that he's
Okay.
in, but he's studying to be a doctor now. But
Oh, wow.
so
Interesting.
yeah, little. But
I hope he's all right with all this weather.
yeah, I hope so. I didn't even think of that. I should, we should message
storms
him after
brewing
this.
over there,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually serious. But yeah, we should reach out to him. I saw his story on Instagram, so I
this just
think they're
got
okay
dark.
over
Still
there.
alive.
Yeah, if he's posting on Instagram, he's okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So
Sorry
yeah,
to worry you.
what were we talking about?
We were talking about how you became a band, and we had just got to the point where you moved down here.
Right. So we moved down here. We got Tony and Ryan. We started playing cover shows, 4-hour gigs, things like that. And then after a couple years of that, that's when we decided we wanted to just take a stab at writing our own stuff. So we just put
Nice.
out Change the Subject. That's our first EP. That's
Yeah.
what you had heard on Spotify.
That's great. We got to just, take notice of the fact that the band's called Subject to Change and the album's called, the EP's called Change the Subject. That's so funny. I love that.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
cute.
That's what we go for.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like light, non-serious sort of vibes, subject to change. And then, the name is kind of how we try to treat the music too. So we try not to. It's not even that we don't try to. Just sometimes we want to write a hard rock song. Sometimes we want to write something funkier.
Yeah.
Sometimes something a little sadder and sappier with a string section. And so our sound is kind of subject to change too. You could say.
That's cool. And it definitely sounds like you guys know about music. It's very musical, which is
Thank
something I really like. Did you study music when you were growing up?
This guy did.
Oh, yeah. Tell us all about it, Anthony.
Yeah, I
Start from right at the beginning.
Very
Sure,
big.
so
he was
I,
born at a very young age.
I lived in Illinois for almost 20 years, and then I moved down to Florida to go to college in Orlando at UCF.
Yeah.
I studied classical guitar, got my bachelor's degree in classical guitar performance,
Right on.
and with Conor, we made our band up there, and then moved down here. And I mean, he's got perfect pitch, and I have a degree, so
Yeah, there you
it
go.
kind of makes a
dream
good team. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then we built a studio moving down here.
Excellent,
We built
yeah.
a studio, and then
We'll get to that in like
From
1
there.
second, but I'm curious about when you were growing up, when you were a child, did you have supportive parents, and when did you sort of find out that you were into music and stuff like that?
yeah, in my teens, going into high school, I was really into Metallica, and I love hearing the guitar solos. So I'm like, I gotta play guitar now, and started from there. After I graduated high school, I didn't really know what to do with myself. It was
Yeah.
like music degree. I was in the jazz band. I was in the pit orchestra, things like that.
Cool.
Got my music degree and like an associate's degree, and then
Right.
after that ended, it was like, what can I do? No, a further music degree. Why not?
Yeah,
I'll
there you
just dig
go.
myself in deeper.
I did the same thing. I did a music degree too.
You know what? I honestly wouldn't have changed it.
No, yeah.
Um,
It gives you a little bit of time to kind of figure out how to do music for a living. It just gives you it gives you a few years of studying what you like, but also being somewhere that you're not home and you can meet new people and kind of find
Yeah.
your people.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, I literally uprooted from my home to a brand new place,
Yeah.
and like organically made a band, made all my friends here. Like, so meeting Conor, it was literally like the metal club of UCF.
That's
Yes,
sick.
it was.
And
That's
we're
right.
like, you play guitar, let's make a band.
Yeah, wicked.
Literally from there, the rest is we just played.
He had a
That's
very
awesome.
Anthony Kiedis haircut at the time.
Oh
very
my
different.
god,
I could
it
see
was
that.
The swoop.
Well, you got the hair for it.
Thank you.
Now you've got like a younger Anthony Kiedis haircut.
I just have to grow it out even longer.
That's awesome. So, did you have guitar lessons when you were a teenager?
I did. I took guitar lessons from a pretty strict teacher, and
Okay.
he was like a jazz bassist. He was all about teaching modes and functions of scales and like tonality and all that. So even
Excellent.
before going into school, I had a grasp on jazz music and all that, like just functionality of chords and things like that.
Yeah.
Kind of give a backbone to understand, like being able to communicate about music.
Yeah.
So, you know, I moved away from learning tabs. I still use tabs today. It's okay. But I quickly went away from tabs to lead sheet music, doing the real book, all the jazz standards, things like that. So
yeah, neat.
Got the culture about it. I learned to communicate about it, and I think that playing with a band is communication in real time. Yeah. So
absolutely.
Having all that backbone was really something that made this a special thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So would you say that growing up, the music that was around you, like your parents and stuff like that, influenced you when you were young? Like, did they listen to anything that you...
Most definitely. So my dad was straight rock and roll, 60s, 70s, 80s, into the 90s and 2000s, and he would always have the rock and roll channel playing. So I got all of those bands, from Heart to Led Zeppelin to Blue Oyster Cult, Billy Joel, things like that.
Yeah, sure.
All of the bands. And I think, putting it in terms of our band, you know, we mesh a lot of all these styles together and make it into like an accessible thing. So absolutely, the Brian Setzer mixing with the Pink Floyd flavors in our songs are very evident.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when did you decide to pick up an instrument? How did that all happen?
A couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Midlife crisis. I mean, when I was like 10 years old is when I got my first guitar. I just felt like it was the right thing to do, kind of a thing. I tried to mess around and like learn it myself for like 2 months before you kind of figure out you can't really do that. But that was before YouTube took off too. Sure. You know, it was like right before. So I was 10 years old. I picked up guitar, liked it a whole lot, liked writing a whole lot. So it's probably 17 or so when I got Logic Pro and started messing around with mixing and things like that. And then in my early 20s, I just went a little nuts. I bought a flute, a violin, and a saxophone, and I suck at all three of them.
Right.
So
nice, like ornaments there.
Exactly. No, I show them on dates and things like that. Of course.
It looks really cool at
and
home.
Then, like, they're really good. Let me show you the guitar, though. Let me play something on the guitar.
According to American Pie, you can do all sorts of things with a flute.
So they say. So yeah, I was really young at the time, and then in like high school, college, and all that, always like getting my friends together for like bands and like trying to play at birthday parties, and so it started at a young age for sure.
Oh, cool. Yeah, wicked. Were your parents into music?
No.
Right.
Well, my dad hated music. Like he didn't hate music, but I don't think he likes it at all.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't really listen to it. He always.
It's quite rare when you find someone that actively dislikes music. But
yeah, exactly. No, there was one when we were growing up. There was one CD, and it was Use Your Illusion by Guns N' Roses. That's the only CD he would play in the car growing up.
Right.
And then my mom was the exact opposite. She has like every record made and some that haven't been made yet. And she listens to everything. And she probably would take credit for like me liking music a lot, because she has this story she'd always tell. I was like 2 years old or 1 year old, crying in the back seat, and I wouldn't shut up. And she turns on the radio, and Godzilla by Blue Oyster Cult comes on, and I stopped crying. So that's when we knew.
Destiny.
That's when we knew right there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
a lot from the parents.
Yeah,
for sure. Mom, anyway.
That's awesome, man. So you guys started talking about it a little bit there. I'm really curious about this home studio that you have hidden away behind a FedEx on Singer Island. What's going on with that?
So yeah, long story. But my grandfather's had a shop kind of like that too. It's like a pack and ship in Jupiter, really close to Square Grouper actually.
Okay.
But he's had a shop like that for 20 years. I was working sales in college when he called me and said that another shop like mine is for sale if you were thinking about taking a route like that. And I didn't have a passion for packing and shipping really, but it was a good opportunity to really kind of have my own spot. Do you think anyone has a passion
for packing and shipping?
By circumstance, not when they're like born. You know, it turns into that with age. But
I love packing peanuts. I just want to put that out
there. In all fairness, I do like sending stuff out. That's not true. It's quite fun.
Well, it's with any kind of job, like I'll see like someone's like discarded boxes and be like, oh, is that double corrugated? That's a nice. Look at that box right.
So, interesting story. My school took us to a cardboard factory once, and it was fascinating. They were telling us all about how to make like really strong structures with it and everything, and how versatile cardboard is and everything. There's no way I thought going to a cardboard factory would be interesting at all, but it turned out it was.
Yeah,
So,
everything's interesting, like when you kind of zoom in on it.
Yeah.
That's a Simpsons episode. Did that really happen, or you
Yeah,
just
that really happened. Mrs. Hawkins, my science teacher, took us there.
okay?
Yeah, 100% happened. Yeah.
You went to school of Bart Simpson then?
I have no idea. Maybe she got the idea from the Simpsons episode. I didn't even know there was a Simpsons episode about that.
No, yeah, they go to the box factory.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, it
Like-
totally happened, I swear to God.
Okay. Yeah, dude, the Simpsons they always did it first.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe Mrs. Hawkins watched the There's all sorts of weird conspiracies about the Simpsons. Maybe this is like another one of that. you
Yeah,
know?
it runs deep. Goes all the way to the public schools, man.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah, so what's going on with this studio then?
Yes. So grandfather told me shop was opening up. I went in on it with him, so I was running the shop, and I still do by myself. So it's just me all there all day. I close at 5:30, and then there was this back office, and it was just filled with cardboard boxes, and it was just a poor allocation of rent. So we just kind of moved all that to the front, and then we gutted that room and turned it into kind of like, just all foamed up, all studio. It's got one of
Yeah.
those wooden diffusers in it,
Oh,
you
cool.
see like the Skyline diffusers.
Nice.
And yeah, so we just turned it into a recording room.
Wicked.
That's where we do all our stuff. We record everything from the vocals to drums there. We outfitted our computer with a whole lot of like East-West symphonic plugins and just a whole
Cool.
bunch of, like Waves plugins and all that. So we just
Yeah.
kind of,
I don't really know much about East-West symphonic plugins. What's going on with that?
they are one of the standards for kind of like orchestral scoring. So like,
Oh, wow.
I mean, just from what I've read, like Hans Zimmer will use it to compose scores. I know Zed's used it to compose scores.
Right.
Moby would use it sometimes. They're
Right.
really just high quality samples, and you get what you pay for when you get them.
Gotcha.
Just they have an orchestral strings library, brass library, woodwinds library, percussion. They have one called Storm Drum that's all ethnic percussion. They have one called Raw that's all ethnic and exotic instruments.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
Cool.
we just outfitted our computer like crazy, and it was just our laboratory. I probably didn't go outside for 3 years after we built that room and computer. We
Wow,
just
yeah.
made songs, and we just made scores and just.
So yeah, you were
all over
telling
the
me earlier about you did some scores for some movies on Amazon, some horror movies. Is that right?
Yeah, horror movies. That's a good way to put it.
Oh, okay.
They're horrible to watch. No, yeah. You got to start somewhere.
Oh, I'm really
So-
curious. I got to check this stuff out, man. I really, really got it.
Yeah.
Can you throw a name out there, or are you going to tell me after?
I'll tell you after, just because I've said words about it.
Oh, gotcha.
So I don't want to say the name now. Like, what did he say about it?
Yeah, I see. I hear you.
Yeah, no,
that's
so,
fair.
yeah, I'll make them available. But yeah, they're just like I think everyone's kind of seen it, like first horror movie. It's like like a studio is just coming out of the gates making horror movies, and they're doing cool things now. So I don't mean to talk bad, like disparage. It's fun stuff, but like they're doing festivals and things, but. They were just getting off the ground, and they were looking for musicians. And I just happened to, when I worked sales, one of the coworkers was the brother of the guy starting this movie studio, and he posted an Instagram post. So I just hit him up like, dude, I just built this, and just sent him pictures of our stuff. And he's like, that's really cool. My brother will hit you up. He gave me a little test, which was basically, he gave me a scene from Insidious, the horror movie, and said, recreate that score. So I just spent a weekend at the studio trying to recreate. I was alone at the studio, mind you, at like 9 o'clock p.m. So I'm alone in the dark at my studio watching the
That's
same
the
clip
worst,
of
man.
Insidious
Oh,
over and over
man.
again, like
That's the
actually
worst.
tearing up because I'm so freaked out. But it's like there was a
Yeah.
deadline.
Did you when you said recreate, did you have to like make it the same, or did you have to like create your own version of what you thought it would be for a score for that scene?
I interpreted it as the latter that you said. I tried
Gotcha.
to recreate from scratch the score that was already the
Gotcha.
score. So I just tried to recreate that original score to the best that I could. So,
Cool.
But yeah, that worked for him. So I made like 4 or 5 movies with him. You know what? One that was what was one that was the first one, The Invited, I like a lot because it was their first movie. It was my time scoring a movie. And while you can kind of tell that in the ways that are like, obviously novice, obviously green, it's also just like the effort that went into it on everyone's part. You can, you could tell there was a whole lot of hard work and passion in
Yeah.
it. Even
A lot of heart
even
in
if
there.
someone's even if it looked like maybe Steven Spielberg's first try ever at making a movie, like it also showed how it also showed how much they wanted to do it. It showed how
Yeah.
much I wanted to do it, and I feel like that shows too. So
I'm
it's
so
the invited.
curious about that whole world. I really want to get my feet wet in that arena. So yeah, I don't know. Afterwards, maybe I'm just going to be like, so how do who can I email? 'Cause I'm really curious about doing some of that.
I really liked doing it. I stopped for a little while because I was burnt on it, but I want to do it again.
Yeah.
And it seems like kind of.
I imagine it's quite time consuming.
Yes, it's very time consuming. Whenever they gave me a project, I think I did like 5 of them in 2 years, and it would just be 3 months of just not going home. Basically, I'd work from 8:30 to 5:30 and compose or score or make weird sounds because it's a horror movie. I'd do that from like 5:30 to 9 and then repeat.
Yeah.
So definitely exhausting. And after 5 movies with them, they were building up a little bit and they were looking elsewhere. I didn't hit them up for any projects, so it just kind of drifted apart that way. And I was like,
gotcha.
Great, fine.
Yeah,
Give me a minute. But it was also just, you listen to horror movies and you listen to the tones that they make, and they're like, I could do this. I'd take a violin bow against a ride cymbal, done.
Yeah.
But like it's complex in its own right, like
Yeah,
kind of what
for
we're talking
sure.
about. Everything's interesting when you really zoom in on it, and that's the case. With
But
that
this
too.
was the score, right? This was the music. You said at one point, you said something about sounds. So you weren't doing like any like Foley like sound effects or anything like that necessarily.
We were doing all music, but some of like horror is kind of sound effects a little bit. So yeah,
Right. No, I understand that.
Yeah, so we actually made a little like a box. We just made a box with a hollow inside, so it had acoustics. Drilled some holes in it. We put rulers on the side so you get like creepy little thump sounds.
Oh, cool.
You drag a violin bow across a metal ribbon that was on the top of it.
That's
There were
awesome.
pickups inside of it. So
Sounds so fun.
it was a good playground of a time, But but then I just got burnt out after a while, and then
I get that. I totally get that. You can't, anything. You do it for long enough, and it starts to become work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to do it again, but kind of go back to more orchestral stuff because that's really, definitely arranging and composing is more my forte than sound design. So if I do it again, I'd do that probably.
So you've never done any formal training music-wise? It's just, or have you? I can't remember.
I never, other than like some guitar lessons growing up, is just pretty much, just self-discovery, kind of listen to everything I can and figure out what they're doing and, just build up the library of techniques and build up the library of, musical ability. And
When did you realize you had perfect pitch?
so it was actually, I thought everyone did. I thought it was like, this cloth is black, that screen is green, that note is B. I thought it was like that. But like, I was actually, my friend was over and he was just playing around on a keyboard. And I don't even remember the conversation, but he played some sort of thing in B minor, and I just noted that he was in B minor. And he was just like, how do you know I'm in B minor? And I just said, because you were playing in it. And he was confused because how did I do it? And I was confused because what are you talking about? So that's actually how I found out. I thought it was a normal thing before.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't, but it's like close,
Yeah, like
I'm
if you find the root
nearly
note.
have it. Yeah. And some days I have it, and some days I don't. It's like some days I'll know, I'll just hear something, I'll know what note it is, and other days I'm way off. So yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know, subject to change.
There you go. I think probably a lot of
said.
some people can identify like 1 or 2 notes too, but otherwise they confuse it like with the 5th or something, like a close overtone. But
Yeah, my relative pitch is very good, but yeah, I wish I had perfect. I was so jealous.
it's all right. It's all right.
Tell me about it.
It's a crutch just as much as because I don't know. I would kind of wish I would love to study something more formally a little bit too.
Right. Yeah.
But that's what I got him for.
He
Oh,
gets
there you go.
he does the in music you have, if it's a G sharp, it's also an A flat. They're called enharmonic equivalents.
Yeah.
Conor will say the note name that he hears, so he'll say G flat. Well, we don't have a G, so I'm like, my school
Oh yeah.
structure. I'm like, Conor, it's an A sharp.
Walks
Or,
like a duck and talks
sharp,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's not a G flat.
Quacks like a duck,
Like, stop it.
swims like a duck, walks like a duck. It's a G sharp.
It's exactly what it is.
The other one that gets me too is makes me so mad is I really want woodwind players and brass players to just tune to orchestral C.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why does the composer have to know 6 different
Oh,
keys?
it's stupid.
Just-
I know.
I don't
It's
know.
stupid.
He can tell you why it's a great idea.
Well,
but-
I mean, it's surely the only good reason is so it fits on the lines better.
Exactly. It's just
don't know.
writing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
played alto sax growing up in elementary school, and what was that, E flat?
E flat.
Exactly.
Usually,
Yeah,
yeah.
just call the note a different name. Job
Yeah.
done.
I know.
But
And now as a bass player, I'm like, E flat. It's not even on here.
Yeah, right.
that's when I remember I was in
This
seventh,
only goes down to E. What's going on?
I was in 7th grade, and my friend played a clarinet piece in A minor, and I was like, "That was an A minor, dude." And he was like, "Yeah, it was," and I was baffled. So,
Yeah.
So that's my other gripe. I don't know. Apparently, it's a great idea.
It is
but,
literally just so that it fits on the 5 lines better. That's the only reason they do it.
That and like overtones.
It's 2022.
Yeah.
It's,
Instrument,
you have
but really,
plugins. You put the
it's
orchestral
writing.
score in, and it spits it out in whatever flat or sharp tuning you need for that instrument. We don't have as much right to complain these days, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I thought it was stupid as well. I'm with you on that one.
The nihilist composer.
Conor 291.
Doesn't matter.
So yeah, you got this amazing studio, and you've been, which I am dying to take a look at. So one day you got to let me come around and take a look. It sounds really cool.
Absolutely.
Please.
Yeah, I just love doing it. I'm so nosy. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, come right by. It's on Singer Island. It's like 10
Yeah,
minutes from
I
here.
used to live on Singer Island. I used to live on
Oh, no,
Tacoma
no.
Lane. for
Then
the
he was
longest time
banned.
in Palm
No.
Beach Shores.
Okay, yeah, exactly. I would have been right in Palm Beach Shores then.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
sick.
Yeah, it was a good
Cool
time.
spot. Yeah.
We actually got kicked off Singer Island for making too much noise.
That sounds about right for Singer Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was this
That's
lady
the
on
dream.
there was this lady on the road
It's the dream.
on the road sort of like next to ours, and she was just so at the beginning she had a point, right? We were having parties being a pain in the ass. But then we stopped because we had the police come around to our house so many times. And she just still, at 11 p.m., she'd call the cops, whether we were making noise or not, just to get it to mean we'd have to go to court, you know?
Oh, boy.
And then, so, our poor landlady, who's a lovely lady, ended up having to go to court on our behalf because it was her house. And she was like, yeah, you can't live here anymore.
Yeah,
you gotta go.
yeah, that's,
Yeah.
that's just unfortunate.
Yeah,
No, that-
totally.
I'm appalled but not supprised. I
Yeah.
guess.
right. Not shocked.
Yeah, it's an older population over there.
Whereabouts is your Pack and Ship?
It's right on if you've been on Singer Island, you go over that big Blue Heron Bridge. And you're going down the bridge. You're going straight. There's a mobile gas station. Then there's a tattoo shop. And I'm right next to the tattoo shop.
Okay.
No
I'll be
FedEx
I'll
awning.
be right there tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
dropping
Singer
off my
Island
wife's
Pack
car.
and Ship.
Yeah,
But,
cool. There's that place that, is it called something like Gator Foods or something?
Yeah, Greater Gator.
Greater
yeah,
Gator,
dude, I
yeah,
get
yeah.
2 egg sandwiches from there every morning.
Yeah,
so.
there you go. I used to love going in there. They did good, like butterfly steaks in there, pork steaks in there.
Yeah,
I used to always
yeah,
barbecue
that's-
them up. But this has nothing to do with music. So
Yeah, we got away.
let's find ourselves back on course. So is everything that you've done self-recorded?
Yes.
100%
Yeah.
homegrown, grass-fed,
Farm to table.
non-GMO rock and roll.
That's cool.
Yes.
And it's all been done in this studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we.
So there's not been
Record-
any recording that went on in the Orlando version of the band.
No, not at that time. We were just strictly doing covers. It was
Right.
all here that we kind of wrote the originals. And yeah, we recorded it all, mixed it all, and then we threw it out to one of the we just got it mastered with AI because we'll get it
Was it
mastered
Lander?
later.
Did you do
Yeah.
that? I found a website that does that, and I was messing around with it. Didn't do a bad job actually. It was pretty interesting. I can't remember what it was called, but how did you do it?
Yeah, that was same idea. It's called Lander, Landr. Same idea, AI
yeah, I think that's the
mastering.
one I went on. Yeah,
Probably. Yeah. It's for what was like 2 years ago. There was like every other sponsored ad on YouTube for me. So
Okay,
I
gotcha.
imagine it's the same for everyone else who
Yeah,
does
yeah.
recording. But yeah, I just threw one of our mixes onto there, and the same idea is just like sounds pretty good to me. And
Yeah.
they let you do like a free demo before you signed on. So I did the car test and the headphone test and the 90s computer speaker test. And sounded pretty good across all of them, which the mix didn't. So
Yeah.
I figured I could spend $200 on a master for 2% better of a result, but for now, this is what we want to do. And then they also do like distribution options as well, so we just kind of do all
Oh,
that with
right.
one service. Makes things easy.
Yeah, for sure. We're currently shopping the mastering around a little bit. I don't know what we're going to go with, but we've got some pretty good people. The guy who I was in this band called No Name Scar Band. It's still a thing, but we've stopped gigging for a while. And we got our stuff done by this guy in Texas, so maybe we'll go with him.
Okay.
I'm not sure. So the problem I have is not mastering it myself, in the sense that when I'm mixing, I always have such a temptation to put stuff on the master output, like kind of make it better, mess around with a multipressor on there and everything.
Yeah.
But then I get it so close to being basically mastered, that when I send it to a mastering engineer, they're like, "What do you want me to do with this? It's like 0 dB, you know." So I'm not going to do that this time. You know, I'm going to desperately try not to completely compress it to death before I send it to the masterers.
Yeah, I save the time, give it to someone or an AI in this case that knows what they're doing with it.
Yeah,
I've also
for
heard
sure.
that you're not like, aren't you like not supposed to master something you mixed because you just have bias from listening to the same
It
thing?
makes total sense.
I've
yeah.
heard, I couldn't source it, but I've heard that you're like not supposed to do that, I guess.
Well,
But,
it makes sense.
yeah, I mean, you definitely
absolutely.
develop those biases after a while.
For sure. Yeah. I was even wondering whether I should mix my own record for that very reason.
Do you think so?
But the thing is, though, there's some weird things about our band. We use feet drums, and so when it comes to the recording, trying to figure out what to do with percussion is the big hurdle. It's like, do we just put a drum kit on it and screw it, or do we kind of try and emulate the feet drums? We started off putting a drum kit on it, weren't really happy. It sounded too, it doesn't sound like us anymore.
Yeah, too much of a shuffle and everything on there.
So we went back to just having the kick and the snare, and what I ended up doing was Hector's son originally recorded the drums. I sampled his kick and his snare, and I turned his bass into MIDI, and so every time he hits the bass, I got like a little MIDI note, and I'm just making that the kick.
Okay.
And then for the snare, I turn my guitar into MIDI, and I'm just finding the upstrokes of when I do that on the thing, and I'm using that as the snare point.
Okay, so you're like down, up, down,
Yeah.
up, down.
So it's not
I gotcha.
100% quantized, so it's not like flattened out to death, you know? Still got the swing of the natural swing of the band.
Nice.
But it sounds tight at the same time. It actually worked really well.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good way to do it. Kind of like have a MIDI trigger, I guess.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
And I know that, you know, a lot of people turn their nose up at that kind of thing, and I get why. But I think in our case, it works because it literally is just 2 drum sounds. It's not like we have a fake kit. We just got a kick and a snare, you know.
That's all we have live anyway. So I mean, it sounds just like when we play live.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Totally justifiable even to the most like bare bones person when it comes to that.
I would say so. I'm sure people, you know, now I've put that out into the universe, I'm sure some will have a problem with it. But
If it's any consolation, we play with backing tracks and a whole bunch of layered synths, so they're going to come for us first. So
yeah, there you
we're
go.
the canary in the mine. We'll let you know when it's time to scale back.
That's cool. How do you? So do you guys play with earpieces in and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. We have like a simplified version because it's thousands of dollars to do it, where every member of the band gets their own mixer. But we have one track that's split left and right. Left side has the click track, right side has the backing track. So the
Right.
left side, the click, goes just to our ears. The right side, which is the backing track, goes to the house speakers and our ears.
Okay,
So
that's cool.
yeah, that way we get the click. That way we get to play with backing tracks. Because some of our songs, as you heard, they start with like violin quartets.
Yeah.
Or like they start with synth, and it's just like.
And this is all from those amazing samples you downloaded. You built it. Did you actually have strings people come in, or did you sort of put it together yourself?
Yeah, we arranged it with those East-West samples I was talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we used the orchestral strings. I know we had like French horns on that one, and we had an
Right.
oboe on that one.
Nice.
So like,
Yeah, wicked.
yeah, we took the opposite approach. We dove right in with
Yeah.
the technology. It's 2022. you
Yeah,
know?
why not? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Being a purist is so 90s when it comes to like triggers and things like that.
A couple of the songs we did record the trumpet and then the saxophone.
That's right, we
so
did.
we do have a little bit of the analog in there, but
Okay.
It's also the samples that we got are like orchestral samples. So if
Yeah.
we're trying to do like a ska deal or a funk deal, you can't
Yeah.
use like an orchestral trombone sample because there's too much reverb and there's no bass in it, you know?
Sure,
So like
yeah.
there are certain things we would love to get some studio guys in for, especially like our newer songs are very
Well, I
much
play
more on
sax
the,
pretty well, so let me know.
Oh, word.
Yeah,
And you wanted to come by, all right? 2 birds with one
yeah,
stone.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, our new again, subject to change. Like our first set of songs is very much on the rock and roll side of things. You know, we had some harder, some softer, but it's all like rock.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if you guys get this, but I freaking hate like if I wrote something, I hate it 2 years later. You know what I'm like?
Yeah.
Every
Every now and again, there'll be something that stands the test of time with me. But like, yeah, it's definitely many tunes in the. You know what? 10 years apart, I get into it again. But like 2 years later, yeah, I totally agree.
I think it's got to be. I don't think it's so much that you hate it. You probably just get tired of it, and I mean, you think
No,
you
I
think,
hate it.
No, I think you think you hate it.
You know what it might be? Maybe this is why we have it in common, is because we've mixed them.
That's
And
Yeah.
so we've
Say
listened
that.
to them 500 times
Yeah,
by the time it's an
exactly.
actual
Yeah.
song. So that's
Yeah.
probably something
It's
to do
like
with it.
learning a really difficult piece of music. You know, by the time you can play it, you're like, I want to play this piece of music so much. I love it. By the time you can play it, you hate it.
Yeah,
You just
no,
heard it so
I know
much.
exactly.
all
Every
about that.
guitar
Yeah.
solo ever
Doing
thrown
the
up on
classical.
YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's awesome. I'm really looking forward. Do you have a drum kit set up in there?
Yeah, my brother's. Well, it's not set up in there now. We have it aside because it takes up a lot of space. But yeah, we do have like a drum set that my brother sets up, records with.
Yeah,
So-
cool. So at one point, I imagine you were thinking that that would maybe be a career, as like doing scores and things and going that route. Was that kind of like what you were planning on doing, and then you just sort of like scaled it back because you got kind of done in with it a little bit? Or
A little bit. I kind of feel like but just, like I'm very much in the kind of discovery phase still with that whole thing.
Gotcha.
I really like playing. I really like composing a whole lot. It's one of my favorite things to do with like my spare time. But
yeah,
I like to be in a band too.
Yeah.
And that has an expiration date. You know what I mean? You can't. It's hard to be in like your 50s, 60s, playing out at like Propaganda or O'Shea's or places like that. You don't want to
Don't
do
turn
that
back to
when
that.
you're in, like,
Easy, buddy. Easy.
No, I'm saying,
I play every weekend, man. I'm turning 51 in December. So.
oh, dude, my hat's off to you. That's stamina, though.
please don't tell. Yeah, we got to drop that in case Hector leaves the band.
Right? Ben's panicking now. Oh, damn it. You told him he's old. He's out of the band now.
We talked before the show. we'll cut that in post. No, I didn't mean. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
No,
I'm
I
saying
didn't
like,
I'm so offended.
like whereas
I'm not.
I don't know, like when I'm, if I make it to the grand old age of 50, I'm already a homebody. So that's when I'm gonna want to
Right,
sit down,
gotcha.
compose,
Yeah,
things like that. I'll be that much better of a songwriter. So like
Yeah,
I'm
that's
doing
fair.
this because it feels now.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's fair.
And I like what we do.
My life was the opposite, though. I did a lot of like home recording stuff and like garage bandy kind of things, or whatever. Through my 20s and 30s and probably even the beginning of my 40s. But and it wasn't until my 40s that I really started gigging out. Like I said earlier, I was in the Nirvana tribute band with Justin and stuff, and so
Right.
that's really
sick.
when I just was really starting to play like big shows and having a good time and gigging and all that stuff. And like I mean. This is probably the first real true working band that the Killbillies that I've been in my whole life. I mean, I've been in a working band, but working was more like a 3 gigs a month, 4 gigs a month.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
doing 2-3 gigs every weekend now.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
pretty
so,
serious.
Yeah.
And talking of being a working band, there was a guy up at Mega O'Malley's this weekend that really made us feel like working girls. We were on stage and he just started throwing like handfuls of dollar bills at us.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes,
That has
please.
never happened to me. I've never I've never been rained on before.
Yeah.
That must have felt good.
It was hilarious.
And then I took off
yeah.
my pants and it got weird.
Oh, yeah. That's not what he
I thought
tipped
that's
you
what
for.
you wanted.
That's not what he wanted. That's what I thought. I mean, I thought I was,
This
He's
is what I've
going-
learned, sir.
He kept going to the bar with like a $10 bill and like exchanging it for singles and then coming over and going. It was really funny.
It could have been worse. He could have been throwing quarters at us.
This-
You know?
yeah, exactly.
He didn't
gotta
make it
love
hail.
those
You got to
guys.
give it to him for that. Yeah.
You gotta wonder, like, because I think everyone's had that experience where like they look in their tip bucket and there's like a 50 in there, and it's
Yeah.
like, is that guy like gone? Should I give this back? Is this?
Yeah.
What about the lady that came up? Did you see her? She came up. She reached in her purse and she came up and she was just about to put I think it was a 20 or something in there. And she was just about to put it in, and she was like,
Oh yeah. Then she
she reacted. I think she looked at it and realized it was a 21, and like turned around and went back to her purse and came back with like a 5 or a 10.
I don't
or
even
something.
think she came back.
No, she did, but it
Oh,
was like
okay.
a 5 or a 10, and I was
Oh,
like,
right.
oh, that's
Yeah,
lame.
that's a little,
Brutal.
that's a little rough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
They're not 20 good. They're like 5 good.
I've been tipped a $100 bill twice. One time it happened at Double Roads.
And once he took his pants off, see,
we're
back, and then we're back to that.
Yeah, but it's always a bit awesome when you get a $100 bill.
Yeah, it
of
is.
course. So it's something that sort of leading from what we were just talking about. I know that something that you were interested in kind of discussing a little bit is, will analog instruments become obsolete in the future?
Yeah.
And you know, Radiohead, one of the guys, I think it was Johnny Greenwood, when someone was asking him a relatively similar question, he said, guitar music in general is and this was in the 90s, guitar music was already antiquated in the 90s.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
it's like people, in my opinion, it won't become completely obsolete because it's more or less been obsolete for a really long time already. And what it is now is essentially just a niche thing that people kind of enjoy, so want to keep around.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think the idea of guitar music being cutting edge hasn't been a thing for a really long time.
Oh, for
Probably
sure.
since the early 80s.
I didn't know about the Radiohead interview you said there, but even I remember one criticism. I couldn't get specific, but I guess one of like a tabloid when the Beatles were first coming around said guitar music is done.
Yeah. No, but that's it. That's what I mean. So I suppose it. Yeah, that would be my opinion. Is that it in terms of it being groundbreaking, it is already obsolete and has been
Yeah.
forever.
Well-
But that it doesn't really matter because people still like it. I suppose the question is, how long will people still like it? You
That's a
know?
good way of putting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like especially it seems like how do I put this? The top 40 there's less and less analog music probably.
Yeah.
But club scenes are they're very vibrant with pop punk bands and like 4-piece 4-chord bands and like bands that sound were really popular 20 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
they'll always be present there. And then kind of like what you guys were talking about, there's almost like if you play an instrument, there's almost like it almost makes things more convenient. Like if you need to produce a drum and a snare sound that work with your bass and guitar, you know.
Yeah.
So for some players it might be like players, it might be like a convenience thing. It might be you could record without instruments, but it might be easier to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering about is because I mean electronic music has even been around for a really long time now too.
Mhm.
It's like is there anything after that? Like, and what would it be? You know, would it be a return to some kind of grassroots situation or like
the
you know?
guitar is coming back.
And I mean, you can. There's all these things that make AI music now. Is that where we're headed? Just we don't even make it anymore. You know? I mean, maybe.
Yeah, no, I don't
That-
know. I have a hard time
Maybe
with that.
someday, very, very far. I don't know. I've seen like a suggested Facebook post where an AI makes a score and it sounds just like a Mozart thing, but that might be where I agree with you. Is like it sounds just like a Mozart thing. You know, there's no like
Yeah.
ingenuity to it. I guess.
the whole AI thing is very touchy with me.
I know, 'cause you're an artist,
Well, I'm
yeah.
an artist, and so there's all these AIs now that are creating art. You know, you basically plug in a few. You know, I want you
Dolly.
know, yeah.
seen Dolly?
I want a guitar with a unicorn on a mountain, and suddenly you have this gorgeous painting that looks like a Rembrandt painted it. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, you know, is there a place for that? Yes, I don't dismiss it and I don't discount it. I think there's a place for it. I think it's genius, and I think the people that invented it and code it and program it are absolutely geniuses. That being said, I think there is a place for it. I think that, you know, traditional art, and in this case traditional music, you know, written by actual human beings, there will always be a place for that, because there's you cannot, I don't care how sophisticated the AI gets, you cannot replace the human element. I mean,
I suppose the human element is the piece that we're looking for in it.
There's
And
heart
so
and
if you
soul.
take that out of it, it's like, what even is it?
Right.
Yeah,
It's heart and soul. I mean, when
Yeah.
you look, and I defer back to art, being an artist, you know, when you look at a painting, you know, the first thing that, you know, when you watch a movie and somebody's standing in a museum and they're in front of a painting, the first thing they're doing is like, I wonder what the artist was thinking.
Yeah.
Well, if it's AI, he wasn't thinking anything. Now, was he?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure real art connoisseurs could tell a difference between
Art and music are supposed to invoke an emotion, and can something artificial invoke an emotion? I
You know,
I
I
would
bet it
argue
can,
that
but then it's like in terms of communication between two human beings, which in my opinion is what, you know, one of the big factors beyond looking nice and invoking emotion is about communication.
Sure.
And if there's not someone on the other end that's trying to communicate,
Right.
then that's
which
all
holds true
missing.
for music as well.
Yeah, exactly.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100% does.
Because you're not making a connection with a human being. You're making, you know, if you resonate with the song and the song wasn't made by a human, like, I don't know. What does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, having a moment with a computer.
Yeah.
I feel like an art connoisseur, or in this case a music connoisseur, could tell the difference probably. You know,
Yeah.
they could tell, even when you put aside the fact that Rembrandt wouldn't paint a guitar on a unicorn, they could probably tell his
You don't
versus
know
the AI. I guess I'm not an art guy. I don't know that. But I think we got to put it to a real litmus test. And like, remember the old commercials where it's like, sir, did you know this is actually decaf coffee?
Right.
Yeah.
But like,
Coke-
sir, this
Coke
wasn't
versus
composed by
Pepsi,
Mozart.
blind.
This was composed by a computer.
Yeah.
You don't say.
Yeah, we
So-
should do a like 561 music in the streets. One of those things where we go and like play stuff to people and see if they can tell.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
You have Justin with a camera on his shoulder.
We should totally do that.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
the Jimmy Kimmel
give it-
things
give
out
it-
on
yeah.
the streets
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Hollywood,
give it
but
to
on
Daniel.
military trail.
the traffic.
Oh man, take it
All
a
the
step.
characters.
Take
Every
a
now
step.
and again, like just some like random like one dude. You've got to take like the one person that walks past every 20 minutes.
No, take
time.
it a step further, man. Jimmy Kimmel goes out there and he'll ask like a random question that everyone should know the answer to, and everybody gets it wrong. So that's what we do is we do like an AI tune and we play it for people on the phone and we're like, could you tell us who this artist is? You know, just
Oh, yeah.
ask them who
Oh,
this
yeah.
and they're gonna come up with everything from like the Police to the Beatles to U2 to whatever.
It's
like
totally a Led Zeppelin song.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I remember I saw that in
I
concert.
saw that.
I
in
heard that one
concert.
when they played
Yep.
it in concert. I bet you.
There you go.
I bet
Let's
you.
throw some people under the bus
All
so
right,
they
now-
come and burn
now-
the studio down.
Now we need to do it. Now we need
Sounds
to
like
do
a plan.
So the other thing that we thought it might be a bit fun to talk about is music-based tattoos.
Yeah.
Music-based
Well-
ink. So I eventually, after much prompting, managed to guess what your amazing tattoo is. Why don't you tell us a little bit about
Thank
it?
you. So yeah, it's a lot of it would be uncouth for me to show because it's on my back and can't pull the shirt off. But I've got you can kind of see it wraps around from the front, the left elbow to the right elbow. It's the first verse of "God Only Knows" by the Beach Boys.
Yeah,
the vocal melody to it.
Yeah.
So that's what that is. Kind
And
of goes from the
I
left
was
to the
saying,
right.
I had to play that at someone's wedding once, and I love that song. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's if like gun to my head, favorite song of all time, that would be it. Like,
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's an impossible question to answer, but if I had to for my life, that's
Yeah.
what I would say.
Yeah.
It's up there for me too. It's a great song.
So like
yeah.
it really, and we were kind of talking about it, but like a lot of times you listen to music and you can tell where the song's inspiration came from. Like you can tell where the influence was, but with that song specifically, I was like, where did it come from? It's
Yeah.
got some hokey like Western clacks. It's got Mozart style.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Harmony.
Modulation.
Sure.
Key change.
Modulation,
Thank
key
you.
change.
Thank you.
Very
music
interesting the way it moves it harmonically, that song. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It just blows me away as a song. Like
Yeah.
it just blows me away. So
It has a lot going on for
tattooed it
sure.
on. Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
got a French horn. Like what,
It's actually make you want to
Sleigh
go
bells.
back and listen to it and like rip off the modulation and see if I can write something that's like a bit. But then, I bet you would end up sounding just like it though.
that's the problem. Like I don't know, dude. When I
His sense of tonality is just on another level.
like if you tried to write something like that, it would sound random. But
Yeah,
like it just
right,
I don't
yeah,
know. It just
yeah.
goes down so smooth. It's like an
Yeah.
energy drink. 2,000 ingredients, but it goes down so smooth. You know.
Yeah.
It's like. Yeah, so that's what that is. That's my musical tattoo. And then
Yeah,
also I
cool.
just like, God Only Knows, it's a romance song, but I just kind of like to apply it to like all the people, I feel like we are a product of the relationships in our life. So God only
Sure.
knows what you'd be without,
Yeah.
maybe your family, maybe your friends, relationships, past or prior, if they were good, so God only knows what I'd be without my people kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's got
Yeah,
like
man.
sentiment value too.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. What's your musical tattoo?
So I have the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon
That's
on my
I
arm.
love the way that the ends of the
Splatter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool.
So the design is I want to get this half of my arm is going to be the bricks of the wall, so it splatters on the wall.
Oh, nice.
And then I want to do like another album right here.
Yeah.
I wanted to get a pig, a sheep, and a dog.
So you hate Pink Floyd then?
Yeah, the Dark Side of the Moon is the greatest album ever written.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, I
Oh,
could write
yeah,
a
we
book
were talking
it.
about that Keeley Dark Side pedal.
Yep.
That's great, that thing.
I think all of my musical serotonin hits
Yeah.
happen throughout that album. That's kind of something that I can start and finish and enjoy equally every single time.
Yeah. Evergreen.
Evergreen, yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It really is. I like the messages that they talk about in the music. I love the progression of it. And then we were talking about 3 first, 2 first, 3 first songs. They
Yeah.
have, for me, that whole album is one piece of music.
Yeah.
It's just however many movements in
Yeah.
the music. It's all tied together.
Tells a story, man.
It does.
Yeah.
It definitely has some like the first one with the crying and the roller coaster. It's totally Birth, and then I always forgot the one with the vocal solo is
Great Gig in the
totally
Sky?
death. Great
Yeah.
Gig in the Sky is totally death, the act
Yeah.
of dying. And then from the Money, Us and Them is, I think, talking about materialism.
Yeah.
And then Separation, like a duality kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then the Brain Damage is questioning reality. And then the Eclipse is just the nice little bow on top at the end.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
Absolutely. In terms of concept albums, it has a hugely broad scope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that etheric kind of, I mean, there's some straight rock songs. You got Money, 12-bar blues.
Yeah.
But then you have some weird
But in
tonalities
sick, just
in
the-
there. You get Time. You get the like intro of Time. It's got all the weird noises. That definitely, the kind of like spaciness of it really influenced a lot of just kind of where I evoke my music from.
Yeah.
Invoke, I think the word is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome that you love it that much. And I don't know why I said Money's in 6 and it's 7, isn't it? Don't go to
7,
do
4, 5, 6.
don't.
Yeah.
So good.
It is really good.
Yeah.
That's one of my. I appreciate that so much when a song is like in an odd key signature, but it doesn't feel like it is. You know, like when it's
Absolutely.
when they just do it that way. Rush was always really good at that. And
Yeah.
Rush
Rush
was
was
always really good at
Genius at that.
Yeah.
that. Yeah, man, so good. Limelight. You can't even tell. Like,
I was teaching someone at Limelight like an hour ago.
oh no
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
Well,
It's a
I'm teaching
tune.
one of my students Limelight too.
Oh, cool.
It's awesome,
It's
man.
an
How old
absolute
is
shame.
how old is the student that's
I
learning
want to
Limelight?
say he's 16, 15, 16.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Radical.
very, very good guitarist though.
Not
this
easy to
kid
do.
Trevor.
So
Yeah.
16, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, there's some weird chords where you got to like kind of partially bar like the thing.
Yeah, the second, like the minor 7 with. I know exactly what you're talking.
Jazz chords.
Yeah. Yeah, so moving on with music tattoos.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your double bass one there, Hector?
It's not a cello. Yeah, like I was telling the guys earlier, I just had the one tattoo for like forever, and then you guys have been like feels like weekly, you know.
Peer pressure.
Like weekly, I get the group text is like James will send something, and then you'll send something, and then James will send. I'm like, Jesus Christ! I'm like, you guys like getting crazy with ink. So then I don't know, man. I was like
a huge tattoo around
here's the thing.
us doesn't seem like that big of a deal anymore.
I just had the one, and it's my wedding anniversary, right? And so I hadn't gotten another one ever because in my head, I tend to overanalyze and overthink everything. And so any ideas I had for tattoos, I was like, well, what if I don't like that in a year? Or
Yep.
what if 5 years from now, an art-related tattoo? What if I'm not an artist in 5 years? Like, I always was just like, but I finally broke down and did this one just because, I'm a bass player. I now am a double bass player. And the way I see it is it's a part of me now. And whether or not I'm in Killbillies, and I'd like to believe I'll be in Killbillies for a mighty long time, but whether or not I'm not in Killbillies at some point, this was always a part of me. This will always be a part of me. So
yeah, exactly.
So I got it done, and now it's like a fucking fever, man. Like now I made an appointment with the guy. I don't even know what I want. I just know that he had an open appointment, so I booked it. And I'll figure out what I want when I get there.
Yeah, man.
Sounds like the rest of the Killbillies are rubbing off on you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Damn it.
We have that way about us. So
Yeah.
my one, I only have one music-related tattoo. It's a hurdy-gurdy up here. Now, this hurdy-gurdy tattoo has actually manifested into a real hurdy-gurdy. What happened was I wanted one forever. I could never really afford one or justify buying one. And then, says the man covering tattoos, but whatever. And then Justin, who is usually here recording the podcast, we have Yaz recording it today. Thanks, Yaz. Very
Thanks,
kind.
Yaz.
Shout out to you.
But Justin, who usually does it, heard me say that, I've always wanted a hurdy-gurdy. And he set up a GoFundMe thing, and a bunch of people put money down to get me a hurdy-gurdy, and now it's coming. I ordered it from Poland, and it's being built.
Yeah, that's a place to order from, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. It's
Yeah.
like you literally manifested it.
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
You
it's
said
the
it, you spoke it, and it came.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Why a hurdy-gurdy?
Well, my uncle plays, he doesn't play the hurdy-gurdy, but he plays in a European folk band called Blowzabella, and they're really, really awesome. It's like dance music, but not like, just not EDM. It's like traditional dance music.
Yeah,
And
okay.
yeah, it's super cool. It has a hurdy-gurdy player most of the time. I think right now they don't, but they always did.
Okay.
And accordion and brass and everything. It's really cool. You'd really like it, I think. Especially if you're into kind of more interesting instruments and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually one of our East West samples has one of our sample packs has a hurdy-gurdy in it. It doesn't compare to the real thing,
Yeah.
but it's there.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
that's cool, man.
Yeah, and I had this idea of having a hurdy-gurdy on the edge of a cliff on the edge of the world with like water and animals going past it. And for years I just did this bit and then I kind of chickened out of the rest, but I've recently started doing the rest. So I've got the water and the sea animals now.
Yeah.
And I'm actually getting this guy coloured in tomorrow morning at 11. So yeah. There you go.
Nice. Like the waves, the water there?
Yeah, probably
Okay.
probably the octopus.
Oh, dude, nice. Okay,
Yeah,
that'll help
yeah.
me see the octopus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, because you can't even really tell it's an octopus right now.
I thought he was part of the wave, which is, he's a predator and prey, so he probably wants to blend in. So it's
Yeah,
probably good.
yeah, exactly.
That's what'd be fun is like so you know how like all the guitar gods would do like some dramatic pose with guitar?
Yeah.
Do it with a hurdy-gurdy.
There's this
That'd
guy.
be lit.
There's this guy called Nigel Eaton, who was the original hurdy-gurdy player with Brosabella. And if you Google him, there's a video of him playing with Page and Plant, and he's doing exactly that. He just
Really?
has it strapped on. He's rocking out on his hurdy-gurdy.
Nice.
Super cool.
It's
Yeah. I can't believe he got to play with Page and Plant. It's wild. Like, he's like in my uncle's band, and then he's like basically in Led Zeppelin. It's like nuts.
yeah. It's funny how it works. Like some people, it seems like everyone who plays music locally is like 2 degrees from a really famous person.
Yeah.
You know? Like
Yeah.
without naming, like I played with the son of a drummer from a really famous metal band that lives down south of here.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he just plays music in the
Oh
area.
yeah, yeah. Nico McBrain probably, right?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
That's where everyone knows him around here.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
used to be in a band with Nico McBrain. It's like
Yeah,
Iron Maiden's
yeah.
son. It's like,
Yeah, there's
I
a-
think
yeah.
everyone who plays locally has a story like that.
There's a
Yeah.
bunch of we've had a few of them on the podcast, but there's actually a huge amount of, more probably than you even think or know about, of really famous musicians. Whether they're famous in their own right or they're famous because of the band they were in or whatever. But there's a lot of famous musicians down here in the like Palm Beach County, Miami Dade, Broward.
Yeah, we had Dave Spitz from who had spent a short time in Black Sabbath
Black
come
Sabbath,
on the
yeah.
podcast. That
No
was pretty
kidding.
crazy.
And
Yeah,
then
wow.
That's awesome.
And then what was it? White Lion, White Stripe, White Lion. I don't know. One of them.
White
White
Lion.
Stripe?
White Lion.
Yeah,
White
yeah.
Lion. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
He was in that for a little bit.
Yeah, he was in a bunch of bands.
Yeah.
He's an awesome dude. Still got the
Yeah.
hair,
Hell
So,
yeah. Got to.
Absolutely. I reckon it's time we heard you play some music. How does that sound to you?
Sounds
Love
pretty good to me.
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
Ready?
Yes.
I wanted to give you a good life. I wanted to show you what true happiness felt like. It seems like no matter how we tried, the trouble and strife come around every corner. Around we go. I know that you needed some time. I know if you had asked for more, I probably would have given in. But you don't know the half of it. The promises I had to make to ensure that you're safe from danger around every corner. Around we go. Keep your feet on the ground, look around. Keep a keen eye ahead of you. We're closer to those better days. Believe I'll be here for the good and the bad. I'll be around. I wanted you to have your peace of mind. I'll do whatever's necessary, long as I can call you mine. I'll never be gone from your side. So grab hold of my hand, I'll keep you tight when we turn around again. Feet on the ground, look around. Keep a keen eye ahead of you. We're closer to those better days. Believe I'll be here for the good and the bad. I'll be around, around.
All right, guys. So this week we have a new sponsor. It's Bak Middle School of the Arts, and they're having an event called Fall in Love with Bak. Bak Middle School of the Arts is inviting the community, interested parents, and prospective students to come and learn about and experience the unique arts program at BAK MSOA. There's 3 different sessions to choose from, and each one will highlight student performances as well as featured art areas in the state-of-the-art facilities that they have there. They have 3 programs for this. This is on Saturday, October 8th. The first program is Strings and Band. The second one is Dance, Visual Arts, Vocal, and Piano. And the third one is Communications and Theater. You can purchase tickets at msoaf.eventbrite.com. That's msoaf.eventbrite.com. And if you're watching instead of listening, I'll have that on the screen for you to follow. So yeah, check out Bak Middle School of the Arts and fall in love with Bak.
So many people I know, so many young musicians have that I've taught over the years have gone through Bak, and it's a great school.
It's
really
an absolutely amazing school. My daughter went there, and now she's moved on to the High School of the Arts, and it is an absolutely amazing program.
No doubt about it.
My sister does she's the executive director of the foundation
Right.
for Bak, raising money for different instruments and programs and things like that. And I'm always trying to get involved and help them out with stuff. So this is going to be an amazing night. So Saturday, October 8th, fall in love with Bak.
561 Music is brought to you by Handlebars Bar and Grill. It's a biker bar in Tequesta, and if you're driving up US 1, you come across it on the right-hand side. It's a little bar there. It's bright yellow. You can't miss it with the handlebars on the sign. And it has a long and storied history. It's been there. It used to be called Judy's, and it was run by this guy Victor, who sadly passed this year, R.I.P. Victor. And then my father-in-law took it over, and he's doing a great job up there. There is a bike night every second Thursday of the month, and there is a jam every 4th Sunday of the month. If you're interested in that kind of thing, it's just an all-inclusive, any kind of music, any style, any ability type of a jam. And there's great beers on tap, and they're wonderful food. Bernsey, the chef, does a fantastic job. If you're interested in classic cars or classic bikes, there's always that kind of stuff hanging around there. It attracts that sort of a crowd because it's called Handlebars Bar and Grill, so it makes sense. And yeah, you should come swing by. It's definitely a local spot and has a lot of character. And there's people who have been going there for decades and decades. It's one of those places that's a part of the furniture in Tequesta, and you should definitely come check it out. I booked the music for the place and love doing it, and I was a part of helping set the place up, and I'm a huge fan. And you should, anyone who is interested in biker bars, or even if you've just never been to one and you're curious about what a biker bar is about, you should go and check out Handlebars Bar and Grill. We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Carver Bar is in Seagrape Square on Indian Town Road, and it is a carver bar. If you don't know anything about carver, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where that brings people together. You all take a shell of carver and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a carver bar is sort of like
a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of kava bars. Some of them are more like a club, there's sort of like black light and EDM playing, and some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Route Kava Bar. 561 Music is brought to you by Live Music Community. It's the place that we're recording this podcast in right now. It is a school, but it's also a recording studio and a live streaming venue, and we can do all sorts of different things here. If you have any kind of project that you're trying to get off the ground, then we can film you and help you put together an EPK and record a demo for you. We can even record, full albums if you want. We have all the resources here. We have a green screen so you can do interesting music videos and stuff like that, and some great equipment, some really nice Blackmagic cameras and proper recording equipment. But really the thrust of the place is that it is a school. So the main thing that we do is help young musicians from as young as 5 to really all the way through to adults, but we focus mainly on the young people, and we help them learn what it's like to be in a band. So we get them together and teach them so individual lessons, but also in groups. And when we teach them in the groups, it's not just a question of teaching them how to play a whole load of covers. We help them learn how to write their own songs. We encourage them to make merchandise. We teach them of the things that could go wrong when they're at a gig, and all of the little things that you wouldn't necessarily think of that go into what it's like being in a band and how to be a band and how to be professional. And it's great. We've seen great success with these kids. They play fantastically, and I think not only is it a good thing for people who want to be in a band, just the life skills that go along with it in terms of working as a team and the courage to stand up in front of people to do something are invaluable. And we see these kids grow into amazing young adults. We've had a wonderful time doing this and really enjoy it. Justin, who runs the place, Justin Hucker, is a really inspirational leader of young people, I have to say, and I really enjoy seeing him work with them, and I'm proud to be one of his members of staff. We have it's Yaz and me and Justin and Mike Scott and Corey and Ryan are currently the members of the team, and we cover all the instruments. A few of us are multi-instrumentalists, and then we have Ryan, who pretty much focuses directly on drums. We've got pretty much everything across the board when it comes to teaching you how to be in a band, teaching you how to play your instrument, and yeah, so that's Live Music Community. Come by and check us out. We are at 9091 North Military Trail, number 8, and it's Palm Beach Gardens, Florida 33410. So if you're heading from West Palm Beach north on Military Trail, as soon as you go past North Lake on your left, just tuck into the first little plaza there on your left, and it's in the corner. Come and see us. If you just want to come and have a look around, we're open from about 2 p.m. to about around 8 or 9 or most days of the week, and then there's usually someone hanging around here on weekends too. So anytime you want to swing by, just come and see us, or if you want to give us a call, look us up online, just write Live Music Community and all of our details are there. The number is 561-951-6902. All right, thank you very much. 561 Music is also brought to you by Conor Connections. It expands your business by connecting you to your target audience through strategic communications, media, marketing, and public relations.
Yeah, this is a good friend of mine, Julie Kana, has Kana Connections, and She has graciously sponsored the episode, which is amazing, and shout out to her for that. But yeah, hit her up. She is really good about marketing and branding, and and just coming up with ways to get your business out there. Whether it's through social media or other outlets. She just has a really good way with doing that kind of thing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate it, Julie. This thing couldn't run if we didn't have people sponsoring us. So thank you so much. And if there's anyone out there who needs a little bit of help focusing in on their target audience, get in touch.
Yeah. Like I said, she's really good about that. She's really good about getting your target audience and doing your marketing and that sort of thing. So, thank you to her, and she has a very unique way of marketing things, like sponsoring podcasts.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Julie. All right, so seeing as we were just talking about live music community, is there any advice as musicians that you guys would give young musicians today?
Don't give up. Practice. Seek help.
Yeah.
It's a abyss of knowledge that you're jumping into if you're just starting an instrument. Ask all the questions. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification. And practice. Practice when you don't want to practice.
Yeah, man.
Practice when you hate practicing.
Yeah.
'Cause you will get better.
Yeah, it's good advice. You got anything?
Yeah. So kind of tangential to music. Like if you're trying to make a face for yourself in your area or your scene, just be a face in your community often.
Yeah.
Make a point to go out to the local shows, find a few local bands you like, see them specifically, introduce yourself, be a good dude, be a good person that people want to see at shows, and the fortune will kind of come to you. You can only do you can do a lot from your bedroom, but you can't get a name from your bedroom. You got it. You especially nowadays, you really got to socialize. So just be out there, be present, be happy, and it'll come to you.
No, that's good advice. As someone who, without sort of the crutch of alcohol, because I gave that up to kind of give myself kind of, Dutch courage, a bit of an introvert. I've always found that side of things a little bit difficult. But, I've sort of come a long way with that now. I can go out and be sober and have a nice time. But, it's for artistic types who can be a little bit introverted, that's sometimes it's the hardest part, being social.
Yeah, very true. I guess I would say to that, you find there to, in the world, if you try to, put yourself out there, you find there are very few genuine, assholes or jerks, I guess.
Yeah.
We don't want to say ass. You go out and you, make a comment to someone, at the very least, they'll give you a courteous response and go about their day.
Sure.
You find very few people that, oh, it was a good band. Shut up.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I feel like this
the
goes
worst
back,
case never happens.
This kind of goes back to the analog versus digital conversation, because some people would say that going out and putting yourself in front of other people, et cetera, is not necessarily the way to go, but rather social media and pushing yourself online and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But I kind of feel like there's a line there somewhere. There's a line you have to walk.
You can't beat FaceTime. People remember you if
that's
you
what I
go
was gonna
stand
say
in front of someone.
That's what I was going to say. And to be honest, I mean, you can't have social media and all that kind of stuff without content, and you get the content from being out.
Yeah, that's true. You could kind of tailor that mindset to social media too. Find local artists, YouTube, go on their YouTube, find their music videos, comment on their YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Think of something witty. Well, if you're not funny, don't. But think of something witty and try to get a top comment or two on some trending videos. Go be social out, and then also on social media. You could kind of, bring that mindset to the internet for sure.
That's a good answer.
The internet.
and Anthony, you said practice, and there's a question we usually ask people, and because we had so many awesome other things to talk about with you guys, we didn't ask. Do you guys practice as a band and as individuals? And there's no wrong answer to this.
You want to go first?
Individually, I think I could speak. I'm sure he does too. But yes, I practice quite a bit, one thing or another. As a band, we take a very shotgun approach. We'll get a gig and be like, "We got to practice, guys. We got to get 3 practices in by next Friday." So that's how the band practices.
Gotcha.
But
But it is kind of like a level of musicians, right? I have an expectation that we all know this music, come to practice and play the songs. It's kind of a level of like, you know, it is a job.
Respect the practice, yeah. Make
And
sure you
then-
know where you're coming in loaded.
Coming in hot.
Yeah,
It's like
be
practice
ready
versus
to
rehearsal.
perform. Be ready to practice versus rehearsal. Like do your practice at home, come to rehearsal.
Yeah,
I do a lot of practice at home.
yeah, that's
a lot
excellent.
All right.
You guys
cool.
practice.
Yeah,
Throwing out, dishing it. Can you take it?
I'm getting a lot better at it, especially since I put the booze down. I practice a lot these days. I like
Nice,
it. You know, I come into work early quite a lot and just sit here and practice. I love it.
I'm getting better at it. I was really bad for a long time. Like I would 5 minutes before a rehearsal, I would learn a part or something. I was really bad about it, and it's really just a time management thing for me because I have so many things going on all the time. Lately, I've been getting better about it, and it's not so much with Killbillies. There's so much material that we play, and we play it so consistently all the time, every weekend, that it's not really like I don't really sit at home and go over these songs that we play.
Right.
I don't. For me, it's more learning new things. I played the double bass, and I just, I learned how to slap recently, like in the
Yes,
last
that's
probably
awesome.
4 to
Yeah.
6 months, and I'm just, and then I was like singles and then doubles, and now I'm doing these triplets, and I'm like loving it.
Like triple stop slaps?
The
Yeah.
whole rockabilly
Oh,
thing.
Yeah,
Dang.
yeah, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
what's
like
up.
it's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
Like I got these whole gallops and stuff. It's fun. But I just recently bought a bow, and so now I'm learning how to bow the bass, which is a bitch. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I'll get there. But yeah, so I don't practice per se, like our actual songs necessarily. But I
Yeah, because we do
practice
play them all the
techniques.
time.
Yeah,
but when
do.
we get a new one, I'll practice that.
Yeah.
But, we've sort of settled into a set list. In fact, it's probably time to kind of freshen it up a bit,
add
frankly.
some stuff and
Yeah.
change some things
Throw
around.
in
But
Yeah.
we'll get to that once I've finished mixing this album, which is just draining the life out of me. I'm nearly there. I'm nearly got over the hump.
We're
But
gonna add some
Yeah.
Britney Spears.
yeah, there you go.
I was gonna say do a Scarlatti concerto, double bass concerto.
Oh, that'd be
my
amazing.
Doing some
goal-
classical.
My goal, I bought a Boss 505 looping. It's not really a pedal, I guess. It's more of a
Station.
looping station.
Station.
Yeah. Which is supposed to be incredible, but I haven't taken it out of the box yet. I've just, like I said, time. But my goal is to master the bow on the double bass, and then eventually start doing some sort of like looping on the double bass. I think that would be fucking amazing.
That would be.
And if
That's
he gets good at it, I want him to just, halfway through the second set, he just does this crazy bass loop thing, and we just watch him do it.
Yeah,
How cool
it's
would
like-
that be?
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
the predecessor. What's the opposite of a predecessor? Antecessor. It's like the great grandson of the guitar solo.
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
That's another place where music will probably be like. There's like a whole genre of YouTube videos where it's like a sport. People make crazy loops like
yeah.
just live, like-
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and it's kind of fun to watch.
We've had a few people on here that have done some amazing loop. In fact, the band that Justin is out recording right now on tour, The Shake, their lead singer Ricky,
He's a loop.
He's a loop master. He
He
uses a
is.
505.
Oh, okay.
That guy is. I'll look up loops on YouTube all the time, and it's like, 8 bars, 12 bars, 16 bars of the same thing before they get around to adding the next thing, and then they added that, and now you're 4
He's
minutes.
good, but he's no Ricky. Yeah.
Well, right now it's like you're watching these things, and now you're 4 minutes into a 2.5 minute song, and they've just started singing. Like it drives me insane. Ricky will literally click click, and he's got the snare for the whole thing, and then thump thump, and he's got the bass for the whole thing, and I don't even think 4 bars in, he's already singing, and he's got the whole song built up with 8 layers.
Yeah.
It's
He's so good at
insane.
it.
He's so fast.
He's good
about
at getting it popping really, really quick. Which
yeah,
is
he's so
definitely the
fast at
key.
it, and he's so good at it and accurate at it and stuff. Yeah,
it's
It's
fun to
its own
watch that
instrument.
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
it is another
different
instrument.
skills.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna touch it. It's just not my forte, but it is
Yeah.
fun to
Yeah.
watch.
I use one. I got quite a nice one. The new one that Boss came out with, whatever the number is of it, can't remember. 600 maybe. RC 600. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And I use that for my solo gigs. But I would be lying if I said I could touch Ricky's prowess on the
Yeah.
thing. But yeah.
Well,
I
the
enjoy
amazing
using
thing
it.
with Ricky is that the 505, I have a separate pedal that goes with the 505. Again, I haven't taken it out of the box, so I don't know. But Ricky doesn't use anything like that. The 505 is all hand pads. And sliders and switches, and he's literally like he does a couple of notes or something on his guitar, and then he just lets go of his guitar, and it's still going, and he's like reaching up and moving sliders and hitting buttons, like he's doing it all on the fly with his hands. Like
it looks like somewhere between like a solo guy and like a DJ.
A DJ, yeah. It's exactly what it looks like. He's just constantly like hitting, like sliding up and down and turning on things on. He's and crazy, like he's turning channels on and off. So he's like, you hear this part of the song, but then not that part, but then you hear this part and not the other. Yeah,
if you go back through the episodes and look up like a Ricky B, like he does a great Ricky Bobby, I think his name. Yeah. I think he's down as Ricky Bobby, which is his solo name. And check that out. If you kind of scroll through to the the performance bit, you should check it out. It's pretty cool.
Sure. Yeah, well, I was watching the Shakes episode earlier today, actually. So I think I probably got to see him, but I didn't get to see that part of it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you were watching the one that's like with all the. Did you watch the one that's the kind of the
best of where
they
were
that's
hosting?
What I was watching.
So the performance on that one is actually us. It's Killbillies.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so if you scrub to the performance part, it'll be us.
That was the one I was telling you about where I have the slightly scary eyes. Because when we originally recorded, I was staring directly into the camera, and Justin was like, "All right, you got to like look away."
He's like, "You're staring into my soul."
You look like Dwight Schrute from the.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Deadpan stare. Yeah, there's only one place you're not supposed to look, but it's so easy to do.
Yeah. Exactly. Why don't we take a look at some of your gear? We can bring some pictures up, Yaz. So what are we looking at?
So that is one half of my performance pedalboard.
I love that it's one half.
It's one half.
Wait till you see the other half.
The quilter itself is basically an amp head.
Yeah.
And then the red box on the top right is Hughes and Kettner. It's a DI box. Every upper end Hughes and Kettner amp head that they build comes with that built inside.
Right.
So on the back of the head, you have a DI.
Yeah.
They just decided to make a pedal, and that's that pedal.
Oh, cool.
So basically, the quilter's the head, the red box is the amp, the cabinet, and then the bottom guys are the effects loop. It's a flanger. A phaser. A flanger tremolo is that purple one going into delay. That other delay on the left, and then the afterneath in the middle is a reverb. So, cool. And then this one, basically my guitar goes into the classic wah.
Yeah.
And then into the noise suppressor. The noise suppressor loops through the pitchfork, through the blues driver.
Yeah.
So those are all my like distortion, tone changing.
I love a noise suppressor.
Love the noise suppressor. It's so good. And then that goes into the compressor. Which goes into its Moore Phoenix. It's also technically an amp head.
Yeah.
Technically also serves as a DI. You can switch it around. And then the volume goes into the quilter. So it's essentially from the right of the classic wah all the way through into the quilter on the previous page.
Neat, man.
So as a bass player that almost doesn't use any pedals, what does the noise filter actually do? And please don't tell me it filters noise.
The noise suppressor.
Don't tell me it suppresses noise.
It does. When you have like the depth or the distortion pedal or something, you have high gain.
Okay.
Oftentimes you'll get a lot of like feedback, stuff like that, and it'll
static.
Take that down. Okay. Also, like like if I'll do like a da, what happens? It'll da.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And it'll cut that out.
Gotcha.
So it just
and you
cuts
can really
out.
chug, like you can go go, and you get these really heavy chugs.
Yeah.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it really like tightens everything up in there, and
so it does suppress noise.
It does. Yeah,
it takes noise. You see, it does.
My whole thing has been working on the configuration, putting the wah on the very nearest to the guitar versus I used to have the wah go into the volume pedal, so it was kind of at the end of the chain. and I've been playing around with like what that actually does with the sound.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because the way I have it right now, I kind of stopped using the wah pedal, I think, because of where it is in the chain.
Right.
I liked how it sounded at the end of the chain versus, I was playing around. I heard a technique is you put the wah first
Right.
from the guitar, wah, and then everything else. Tried playing with it, kept it,
Yeah.
still kind of, I have to literally disassemble the whole thing.
Sure,
I have
sure,
all the
sure.
cables tied up and everything.
Yeah,
So it's a project
Yeah, for sure.
to put it together. But yeah, it's fully functional. I can either plug it straight into the DI. I can go right into the front of house, or if I have a cabinet, the quilter powers a cabinet.
Oh, sick.
So
Nice.
yeah,
You just go straight into a
Nice.
cabinet from the quilter. That's cool.
I love it. I think it's really cool. It's a badass. It's a really nice.
You can cancel
you can
this.
Okay, it's a
Whatever you
badass
want.
amplifier.
Yeah,
Really, really cool tones. I went from having like a line 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I went and we had the effects board, like the line effects board from
Helix?
the Helix. Thank you. To now I'm like, I just want an organic sound
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
nobody's gonna recreate.
Sure.
Nobody has.
It's all you.
Yeah.
I dig that. Don't you have another piece of gear?
Yeah,
that we
there's
were gonna
another
have a
piece of
look
gear
at?
that they brought a photo of.
Oh, that there? So
That's this
that
guy.
filters noise.
Well played.
So we were talking about, we play with a lot of backing tracks because our stuff's, we kind of go for that arena rock thing a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we do it. On the left there is you'd have like that kind of stands in for the sound guy's PA. So that's the soundboard. We would take an iPod with the backing tracks. Hard panned left is the metronome. Hard panned right is the backing track. The metronome goes to the box with the antenna. So only we hear the metronome, but the right side, which is the backing track, goes to the house and the antenna. So only we hear the metronome, but everyone hears the backing track and us playing.
Yeah, cool.
So it's perfect. Some of our songs have like one of them has like 100 tracks. So obviously
Wow.
with 4 people, we can't replicate it. So
Yeah,
it helps
yeah.
So how do you guys? You saying it's like in an iPod or something? You literally just walk over, press play, and then the song starts, and you guys
Correct.
start playing.
Drummer has an iPod set up, autoplay off. So
Okay.
we have
Yeah,
time
yeah.
between songs. But yeah, he just
Puts it on shuffle to really screw you guys up.
yeah, that's when we're feeling really good and have to like kick it up a notch.
Yeah.
But he just we're doing the crowd play, and I'll just give him a little thing, a little point or something, and he'll start up the track. We'll hear the click, and then with the click track, we also have I recorded some little just cuts, so like intro 2, 3, 4. So that's also in our ear.
Gotcha. Nice.
Bridge 2, 3.
Oh, that's
some of
cool.
our songs will have. Maybe like 5 of our songs will like hold out on a sustained chord and then have 1 5/4 measure. So it
Yeah,
also
yeah.
helps for things like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
All right,
we
that's
embrace that side of things. The
Really
digital.
looking forward to catching you guys at a show.
Yeah,
Like, it
Yeah,
sounds really
It
interesting.
sounds really cool. I've seen where some drummers will run the tracks like that, but they'll do it with triggers and things on their drums.
Yeah,
you know?
that's how we used to
like,
do it in
or
Sonic
like
Boom
drum,
6,
like these
yeah.
drum pads, and they'll
Yeah.
hit the pad and it like triggers.
Yeah,
or-
you
or-
can get
or-
crazy with triggers. I was watching this one band cover 1999 by Prince,
Yeah.
and if you know the song really well, there's like a drum sample in there. It's like a
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they had one guy in the band. All he did was play samples. So like, Prince songs have a whole lot
Is
of
that one that
percussive
goes
samples.
like, is it that one?
The
That sort of
1999 is like the boop boop boop.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay,
I was
yeah.
dreaming when I wrote this. So
Yeah,
sue me
yeah.
if I go. Oh God, that's another tattoo I need. I need a good Prince tattoo.
Yeah,
I'm running
man.
out of real estate.
You could just get like a
Purple Rain.
silhouette of Prince on your back.
Exactly.
There
Well,
you
he's
go.
got that face, He's
Yeah,
got that
yeah.
regal face.
That's
But I
true.
also want something a little less overt,
Yeah,
I need like a little red Corvette, like just
Oh,
a
there you
tattoo
go.
of a little red Corvette somewhere or something.
yeah. What a legend, man.
Yeah,
Gone
he was
too
the man.
soon. Gone too soon.
Tell us, we skipped over, so tell us a little bit about the song you guys played. And,
Yeah.
like what's it about and inspiration for it, etc.
Well, Anthony wrote it for tonight, actually.
That's
about-
so awesome.
about your mom,
Just
isn't
a
it?
challenge. Like we
They wrote it for tonight. How cool is that?
And we
That
were
is
gonna
cool.
play something that we covered, but then we're like, that's lame, dude.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
do something. So
yeah.
I'll let him take it away. He
so
wrote it.
we got word of this, and he said, we were like, well, what do we play? You know, our original songs are so big, can't really just reduce it. And then we were like, well, let's do a really awesome cover that we do. And I was like, I can't, you know.
I respect that, man.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so I wanted to write a song. I felt, it was time for. I'm a big death metal guy, right?
Yeah.
It's time for me to write a love song, singer-songwriter, indie style love song. I wrote it, dedicated it for my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Gave it, it's for her, but it was for this. And the song's called Around Around. And kind of the inspiration was like Conor gave this to me, but it was like one of the songs that they would play on the end credits of Grey's Anatomy. That's what I get from it, and I'm running with it.
That's
it's
awesome.
Happy. It's in D major. It does some weird chromatic things, but then it like lands on a nice D major chord, the one chord, home.
Yeah.
And that's what I really tried to do. Like the death metal guy made a 4-chord song that's now like a 7.5 chord song.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that's kind of the format.
That's cool. I really like it when bands who almost exclusively play heavy stuff have like one their one slow song is always better than bands who do slow songs, all of them songs.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. I'll take One November Rain over all of Mumford and I'm sorry. Sorry for Mumford and Sons fans.
It's like the focus of it, though, right? We have really heavy songs, like one of our songs called 1 Hot Minute. It's like a straight, like riffing song, solos, shredding solos, my man. But then, like to reduce it down to 2 guitars, 2 vocals, like Lennon and McCartney style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And instead of like the whole big band kind of scenario. It's definitely refreshing having. It took me, what was it, like 2-3 weeks, I think.
Cool.
To have it, performance ready. We went through a couple iterations of it, and I think we're gonna keep it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, we're throwing it on.
How do you guys write lyrics? Do you have like a method?
We don't like to. So here's we like to. The way we make ourselves write lyrics is to write about really weird things.
Okay.
So like for 1 Hot Minute, for example, that song is about like the message of the song is like guy girl out, and the guy's like, you're looking good, I'm looking good, I don't last very long, so we can do this real quick. Like that's so it's just sophomoric, like immature lyrics.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know. I was writing one song and I was like, this is kind of like an upbeat song. I want to write it about dressing good and feeling good and looking good. But I was like, it's so hokey. Like I couldn't think of anything. So then we made it about something else weird, and then the lyrics came a lot more easily.
Yeah, cool.
So, and then it's fun if you can kind of bury that, so it's not so obviously about something weird. Like our song Roller Queen sounds like it's like an ode to a pretty girl, but it's like, literally it's an ode to a porn star, like a specific one, but it doesn't sound like it is if you just.
Is it about Roller Girl or a real actual porn?
Yeah, star? it's like an ode to a porn star.
Gotcha.
But it's the kind of song that your mom's gonna sing in the car and not really internalize the lyrics of what they're singing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
yeah just like
awesome,
the innuendos kind of. Yeah, so it's fun if we can do that. Same, like with 1 Hot Minute, we don't directly address what we're talking about, but like if we tell you what it's about, then all the lyrics are like, oh, so that's what that means.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Fun. I'll have to go back and listen.
So yeah, I don't know. It's
a
hard
lot
to write about topical stuff, I guess.
A lot of the format, like I write a lot of the lyrics, but then we'll bring it together and we'll be like, we got 4 hours. We're not leaving this room until we get through this. And I think that really helps for me and Conor, because he's got his own ideas. I have my own ideas. But, and we do, not in a bad way, but we do clash and like bounce ideas back off. But I think the best part and the most healthy part is like, we're not fighting about it, but we're going to get through.
Yeah.
No matter, like, it's going to take the night. Like, we got to get the song done, we have to, it's not going to just, write itself.
Yeah.
We will go through line by line and really, digest each thing, each rhyme scheme, things like that.
I think something I'm really impressed with you guys about is there's clearly acres of talent, but there's also the work ethic, and I admire that. Like, you know, with the fact that you pick through stuff, you make sure it's right, you're doing your own recording, and you know you really know how to do that. You're very capable people. I think it's very impressive.
Thank you very much.
It helps to very much enjoy it. You know, maybe this is the highest level we'll ever achieve, but that's if that were the case, I'd not stop doing it. You know?
No, totally. I feel like it's all about the journey anyway. If you don't enjoy the journey, then you're doing something wrong.
Exactly. If you're in it so that people love you and worship you, you're more than likely going to be horribly disappointed.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the most fun when you just appreciate that you're part of the history of music. Maybe that sounds really, I don't know, just cliche and egotistical. You know, you're just another one of the members of musicians that
like
grace
one of
the
the
world.
facets that makes up the whole. Yeah,
Exactly.
totally.
You got to hear it. You got to make your own.
Yeah.
Maybe only a couple thousand people heard it, but you know they're going to talk about it and they're going to buy stuff, and that stuff's going to last.
You're going to come on 561 Music and talk to us assholes?
Exactly. That's what it was all for.
We wanted to be here.
What do you guys have coming up as far as gigs or any new songs or anything coming up?
Yeah. So it's like we said, we just lost our keyboardist and guitarist. We are looking for some. So we're looking for some keyboardists and guitarists so we can get the live shows going because we're really trying to get the original shows.
Yeah.
We're we're looking for a couple of guys there that can sing because we got the harmonies. But we're releasing our next EP coming out. It's called Come to Life. It's a bit more funk and R&B than hard rock like the last one.
Is it recorded already?
Mostly. We might need to talk later because it has a sax solo, one of them.
Excellent.
2 songs have sax solos.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, that's the big push now. We want to get Come to Life out. It's a banging 3 love songs, and then we're going to hit the road. We're going to be propaganda. Well, we don't have dates, but we want to play Propaganda where we were. We want to play all the old places and kind of hit that road again.
Yeah, perfect, man.
Nice.
That's exciting. What have we got coming up?
We've got Friday night. We're playing 2 local shows, aren't we?
We're playing.
Oh yeah. Friday night we're playing Lost
Last
Weekends
Weekend.
on Clematis.
Yeah.
That should be fun. It was fun last time when we played there.
It was real fun, yeah.
And
Last
then
Weekend. That's Sheriff's Voltaire, right? That's that
yeah.
place.
Yeah.
That's a sick place.
And then Saturday we're at our home, Patty Max.
Patty Max.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I think Saturday afternoon you're playing. Is it Cork?
You're
playing something.
Not
next
100% sure what's going on with Cork.
You're playing something Saturday afternoon. Is that what it was supposed to be?
I got to find out because I think they're doing weird things with the music, but I should be playing Cork, so hopefully I am.
Yeah.
Everything goes to plan.
Yeah. I think that,
it's supposed to be Cork at 12:30 to 3:30 for you.
Yeah.
And then Patty Max that night.
Absolutely.
Double header.
When you listen to this on Friday, the night before, I will have gone to a drum circle on Juno Beach, so that would be fun.
Oh, nice.
Drum circle in Juno Beach.
I've never been one in Juneau. I've been one in Lake Worth.
Yeah, it's something to do with. I'm not 100% sure whether it is related to my brother-in-law's group that he's in, but they're all going. So
Nice.
yeah,
Awesome.
I'm gonna go do that. I've got to find someone to borrow a djembe off. I'm
Nice.
gonna go and beg Yaz if he'll lend me his djembe. I don't know how that's gonna go.
we went to a drum circle years ago. We went to a drum circle. Gavin was just getting into drums and stuff, and so we were like, "Oh, let's go check this out in Lake Worth." And we showed up with like a couple of cajones,
Yeah.
and everybody's looking at us like we were nuts.
Yeah, totally.
But it worked. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Look, you could come with a pot and pan. Let's be real. You know?
Exactly. I brought my sax one time. That was cool.
Yeah.
Because it was the only thing that was like a melody instrument. So I was doing all these Middle Eastern scales. It was cool.
Nice.
So rad. All right. Yeah. Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah,
Thanks
it's
for
been a
having us,
pleasure.
man. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you very much.
And as to everyone listening and watching, you know, the usual spiel, like and subscribe and follow us. We're trying to monetize the YouTube channel so we can take the money and dump it back into the podcast, make this better for you guys. Keep getting the guests rolling through here and put together the festival that our second festival that we're going to be doing in April. So at Matthews Brewing, April 1st, 2023. So mark your calendars. We're going to start doing a little social media push for that.
We
soon.
promise it's not an April Fool's joke.
It
Actually,
is
gonna
not
happen.
an April Fool's joke. I might get on stage. No, I'm just kidding. That's an April Fool's joke. I was about to say I was going to get on and do a little EDM for you, but that's an April Fool's joke. But yeah, like, subscribe, follow us. Go to 561music.com. All the episodes are there. All the past episodes. Catch up on that stuff. You can watch this episode. You can listen to it. All the links are there. Our sponsors are there. If you would like to sponsor an episode, where I believe there's a tab on there as well, and you can either sponsor an episode, you can sponsor multiple episodes, you can just send us cash because we like that, and then basically that's it. You can follow us on all the social medias at 561 Music Podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice one. All right. Well, let's chat about me playing some sax and nosing around your studio and get out of here. Thanks so much for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Great
Thank
time.
you very much. Thank you for having us.
Yep.